Gol Linhas Aéreas Inteligentes S.A. BM&amp F Bovespa GOLL3 GOLL4 NYSE. Gol is a Brazilian airline based in São Paulo, Brazil. The company is the largest low-cost airline in South America and the second largest Brazilian airline company by market share and fleet size, after LATAM Brazil. Gol competes in Brazil and other South American countries with Chilean LATAM Airlines Group, Brazilian Azul and Colombia-based Avianca Holdings S.A. It also owns the brand Varig, although now that name refers to what is informally known as the new Varig, founded in 2006, not to the extinct old Varig airline, founded in 1927. According to the National Civil Aviation Agency of Brazil, between January and December 2015, Gol had 35.9% of the domestic and 13.6% of the international market shares in terms of passengers per kilometer flown, making it the second largest airline in Brazil, after LATAM Brazil. Gol operates a growing domestic and international scheduled network. Its main hubs are São Paulo Congonhas Airport, Rio de Janeiro Galeão International Airport and Tancreda Neves International Airport near Belo Horizonte. Gol also has focus operations at Rio de Janeiro Santos Dumont Airport, São Paulo Guarulhos International Airport, Salgado Filho International Airport in Porto Alegre. Gol refers to itself as Gol Intelligent Airlines as a slogan. The company is traded on the New York Stock Exchange as Gol Linhas Aéreas Inteligentes S.A. The company's name is not an acronym or abbreviation, but an actual word. Gol is a Brazilian, Portuguese and Spanish word borrowing from the English word goal. History. The airline was established in 2000 and started operations on January 15, 2001, with a flight from Brasília to São Paulo. It is a subsidiary of the Brazilian conglomerate Grupo Área, based in Minas Gerais state, which has other transportation interests, including Brazil's largest long-distance bus company. Grupo Área in turn is owned by the Constantino family. As of 2004, Gol had carried 11,600,000 passengers, and constituted 20% of the Brazilian air travel market. Constantino Jr. was responsible for building the business next to the vice president of the company, David Barrioni. On June 24, 2004, Gol launched simultaneous initial public offerings on the New York and São Paulo stock exchanges. In 2007, Gol was owned by Aeropa Participações Venture, American International Group and Air France-KLM. The growth in Gol's stock price made the Constantino family a member of the Forbes magazine billionaire list in 2005. In 2007, Gol was supposed to begin a code-share agreement with TAP Portugal, opening the European market to the Brazilian airline, and the internal Brazilian market to the Portuguese airline. Instead, TAP Portugal chose to cooperate with TAM Airlines. On February 24, 2010, Gol announced to be in advanced talks to join One World Alliance, which would allow it to catch up with rival TAM, a recent member of Star Alliance. However, on October 6, 2010, the airline announced a change in position by denying any interest in joining an alliance, preferring to remain independent and to establish a patchwork of code-sharing agreements. Following this trend, on September 28, 2011, Gol and Aerolíneas Argentinas announced the intention to implement a code-share, feeder and frequent flyer programs agreement on a date yet to be announced and pending approval from the governments of Brazil and Argentina. On March 18, 2010, Gol unveiled the expansion of its maintenance space located at Belo Horizonte, confines, Tancreda Neves International Airport. Originally opened in 2006 with the capacity to service 60 aircraft per year, The expansion allowed Gol to increase the number to 120. Gol later started also using the base to service aircraft from other airlines, and as of 2013 it also serviced airplanes from Azul Brazilian Airlines and Copa Airlines. On December 23, 2010, Gol Airlines started an operational partnership with Brazilian carrier Passaredo Linhas Aéreas. The agreement was rescinded on July 31, 2014, when Passaredo established a similar interline agreement with LATAM Airlines instead. On December 7, 2011, Gol announced the intention of Delta Airlines to purchase 3% of its shares. The agreement also includes the creation of mutual code share flights, alignment of frequent flyer benefits and transfer of Gol's Boeing 767's lease agreements to Delta. On October 1, 2012, Gol confirmed a firm order of 60 Boeing 737 MAXes. References did not specify the type of MAX aircraft. On October 6, 2012, Gol started seasonal operations to Miami and Orlando, available for Smiles account holders and originating in Brazil only. Technically, they are considered charter flights. Although they are not necessarily part of an inclusive tour package, the use of miles and miles plus money is mandatory, as well as a minimum 7-day stay at the destination. On the 23rd of January 2013, the Jet Airliner Crash Data Evaluation Center announced that Gol Airlines had the fourth worst safety record in the world. The ratings take into account the number and deadliness of the hull losses they have suffered in the past 30 years, how they have fared more recently, and how many flights they have flown without incident. The results do not take into account the cause of the hull losses or whether the airline is at fault, so they are not a perfect measure of how safely an airline behaves. It should be noted that since Gol is a relatively young airline with only one hull lost but with a large number of casualties, that single fatal accident significantly affects the calculation. In February 2014, Air France-KLM announced it would invest $100 million in Gol Linhas Aéreas Inteligentes in advance of the 2014 FIFA World Cup and the 2016 Olympics. Some disagreement exists as to whether Gol is a low-cost carrier. In 2014, Gol was ranked the second-best low-cost airline in South America after Azul. Gol refers to itself as a low-cost carrier, but it is increasingly not regarded as such. According to UFRJ specialist Elton Fernandez, Gol's costs are not very different from those of LATAM Airlines. People are accustomed to calling Gol low cost, but Gol is not that. It is not even low fare anymore. Purchase of Varig. On March 28, 2007, Gol officially purchased part of the assets of Varig Linhas Aéreas, informally known as the New Varig, a new company that owned the Varig brand, for $320 million from Volo Group and Matlin Patterson Global Opportunities Hedge Fund. At the time, the old Varig was under bankruptcy protection. Gol announced that the Varig brand would continue doing business operating as such, rather than its official name Varig Linhas Aéreas. The transaction, via its GTI subsidiary, required a $98 million cash payment, with the balance through the allocation of non-voting shares to Varig Logistica and Volo, which had acquired Varig in June 2006 for $24 million. The transaction did not involve the original airline, informally known as Old Varig, which continued to exist until its own bankruptcy in mid-2010 under the name Flex Linhas Aéreas. In 2009, Gol was merged into Varig Linhas Aéreas. Varig Linhas Aéreas thus became an airline that operates two brands, Gol and Varig, although in reality flights are operated only under Gol flight numbers. Initially, The Varig brand operated to medium-haul scheduled and charter international destinations within South America and to the Caribbean with Boeing 737-700s configured in two classes, and to long-haul charter international destinations in North America, Europe and Africa with Boeing 767-300ers configured in economy only. The latter were also used in wet lease operations. This scheme was later dropped. The brand Gol operates most of the flights of the network, and had aircraft configured in all economy class, used for scheduled domestic and international operations within South America. Because of contractual obligations, between 2006 and 2009 the new Varig was obliged to purchase a minimum of 140 hours per month of services from the old Varig. Therefore, at the time, some of Linhas Aéreas flights operated with Gol flight numbers but were actually flown with chartered aircraft from Linhas Aéreas. The agreement ceased before the bankruptcy of Flex on August 20, 2010. Purchase of Webjet Linhas Aéreas. On July 9, 2011, Linhas Aéreas, owner of the brands Gol and Varig, announced the intention to purchase full control of Webjet Linhas Aéreas. The purchase contract was signed on August 2, 2011. On October 10, 2012 the purchase received its final approval with some operational restrictions from the Brazilian regulatory agency. Services were integrated but both companies continued to operate independently for some weeks. Integration started on October 17, 2012 when sales requested via Webjet's web portal started to be redirected to Gol site. However, on November 23, 2012 Webjet abruptly ceased to operate and all services were incorporated by Gol. The Webjet brand ceased to exist. Gol also announced its intention to return all of Webjet's Boeing 737-300 lessors until the end of the first quarter of 2013. There was no mention to the fate of Webjet's 737-800 destinations fleet. Current fleet as of January 2016. The fleet of Linhas Aéreas consisted of the following aircraft: a former fleet airline affinity program. Smiles is Gol Varig's frequent flyer program since July 20, 2006. Points can be used for services from Gol, Varig, and partners Aerolíneas Argentinas, Air France, Delta Air Lines, Iberia, KLM and Qatar Airways, including flights, upgrades, holidays, hotel stays and car rentals. Smiles was part of the new Varig package bought by Gol, which honored all miles and eventually became its own frequent flyer program. Previously Gol had no such program. On a study conducted in 2011, Smiles ranked third among 24 chosen frequent flyer programs with 97.1% success of requests made. In 2013, Smiles was spun off as an independent company, eventually leading to its IPO at Bovespa on April 2013. Incidents and accidents. On September 29, 2006, Flight 1907, operated by Boeing 737-800 SFP registration PRGTD, disappeared from radar while flying over the central western state of Mato Grosso en route from Manaus to Brasilia and Rio de Janeiro Galeão. The aircraft collided in mid-air with an Embraer Legacy 600 business jet, registration N600XL, near the town of Matupa, 470 miles south of Manaus. The Gol aircraft crashed in the Amazon jungle, leaving no survivors among its 154 occupants. The wreckage was found a day later. The Legacy jet landed safely at Cachimbo Airport, part of the Brigadeiro Veloso test range of the Brazilian Air Force, with damage to the tail and left winglet.